The world today. Did you know almost half of the world's wealth is now owned by just 1% of the population? The bottom half of the world's population, 3 billion people, owns the same as the richest 85 people in the world. 7 out of 10 people live in countries where economic inequality has increased in the last 30 years. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care and necessary social services. Article 25(1) of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
The present turbulent world economy acts as a mirror reflecting the spiritual condition of humanity, a world in which extremes of wealth and poverty exist, and in which the basic rights to human survival are diminishing. This economic imbalance, fired by material greed and caused by a deviation from spiritual values, is increasingly visible in the neglect of the needy. It raises important ethical questions about humanity's need to reevaluate social responsibility. The Baha'i view regards humanity as a single family and promotes the oneness of all peoples. All human beings, regardless of race, color, gender, nationality, class, and religion, are deserving of equal respect and a reasonable standard of living. O ye rich ones on earth, the poor in your midst are my trust. Guard ye my trust, and be not intent only on your own ease. Baha'u'llah. Characteristics of a spiritual economic system. Why the need to change the current economy? It is evident that under present systems and conditions of government, the poor are subject to the greatest need and distress, while others more fortunate live in luxury and plenty far beyond their actual necessities. This inequality of portion and privilege is one of the deep and vital problems of human society. Abdu'l-Baha. How to change the current economy? Through the readjustment and equalization of the economic standards of mankind. The Baha'i writings explain that there is a need of an equalization and apportionment by which all may possess the comforts and privileges of life. The remedy must be a legislative readjustment of conditions. The rich, too, must be merciful to the poor, contributing from willing hearts to their needs, without being forced or compelled to do so. The composure of the world will be assured by the establishment of this principle. Abdu'l-Baha.
The purport is this, that we are all inhabiting one globe of earth, In reality, we are one family, and each one of us is a member of this family. We must all be in the greatest happiness and comfort under a just rule and regulation, which is according to the good pleasure of God, thus causing us to be happy, for this life is fleeting. Abdu'l-Baha.
Why the need to change? According to the Bahai Teachings, much of the economic activity in the world today is wrongly conceived because it is built upon incorrect assumptions. The first of these incorrect assumptions is the idea that human happiness and contentment can be achieved merely by increasing the wealth of the individual members of the society. Economists assume that all human beings are motivated by selfishness and greed, and that therefore the more any particular economic policy caters for these base motivations, the more successful it will be. And so most economic theories are put forward on the basis that they will give increased wealth to the members of the society. According to the Bahai Teachings, this is not the right way to achieve human happiness and contentment. Human beings will only be satisfied if the spiritual aspect of their nature is fulfilled and developed alongside the physical. The second incorrect assumption is that it is possible to achieve lasting benefits for one section of society or one part of the world at the expense of other sections or parts of the world. This again is a false concept according to the Bahai Teachings. It may be that a particular policy will bring temporary benefits to one social class or one country at the expense of other classes or other countries, but that is only a temporary gain, and the policy is a short-sighted policy. Because of the interconnectedness of all humanity, if any part of humanity is adversely affected by the policy, then in the long run all of humanity will be adversely affected. We must cease to regard ourselves as belonging to particular factions or races or nations of humankind, and we must start to regard humanity as one people and the whole world as one country. Only an economic policy that benefits all will in the long run benefit anyone. The third incorrect assumption made by economists when formulating their theories, and this one is perhaps the most important of all, is the idea that materialistic economic theories can actually solve economic problems. Abdu'l-Baha says that economic problems are at their deepest level spiritual in nature, and so they can only be solved by correcting the underlying spiritual problems. Problems such as injustice, corruption, and selfishness. The solution to the economic ills of the world, therefore, according to the Bahai Teachings, lies not in applying elaborate and sophisticated economic theories, or even in legislation or political manipulations. The underlying cause of these economic problems is a spiritual malaise that affects the whole world, and so only a spiritual solution will cure these economic problems.
The Bahai International Community. The well-being of mankind, its peace and security, are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah, over a century ago, made reference in his writings to what has become known as collective security and to the convocation of a world gathering of heads of state to establish a covenant between nations, binding them to the furtherance of world peace. As an international non-governmental organization, the Baha'i international community is involved in a wide range of activities, including peace building, human rights, women's affairs, education, health, and sustainable development. Over the years, the Baha'i international community has enjoyed a working relationship with several United Nations agencies, including the UN Economic and Social Council, the United Nations Children's Fund, the World Health Organization, the United Nations Environment Program, the United Nations Development Fund for Women.
Baha'is are dedicated to personal and social transformation. Specifically, as individuals and as a community, Baha'is are dedicated to improving society through social and economic development projects in education, agriculture, and healthcare, among other fields. The ultimate goal is to unite humanity by eliminating prejudice, promulgating the equality of the sexes, adopting a universal standard of human rights, ensuring education for all, recognizing the harmony between religion and science, and establishing a world federated government. Baha'is work with other organizations such as the United Nations to achieve these goals. Ultimately, Baha'is believe that all the world's population will become a united community, diverse in their national and individual characteristics, but cooperating in one shared world civilization. This civilization will be based on justice. All trade barriers will be removed, a common system of weights and measures adopted, a world currency established, and interest rates set at a fair level. These measures would foster trade between countries and remove many of the difficulties faced by less developed nations. The essence of the matter is that divine justice will become manifest in human conditions, and affairs and all mankind will find comfort and enjoyment in life.
How the Baha'i community contributes towards social justice. The establishment of justice in human affairs is a central Baha'i preoccupation. The current disparity between rich and poor cannot be permitted to persist. All of the earth's peoples should be able to enjoy the fruits of a materially and spiritually prosperous global society. To create such a society, it is essential that people everywhere be empowered to participate in the constructive processes that will give rise to such a society. Effective social action aims to build capacity in individuals, communities, and institutions to contribute effectively to those processes. It requires awareness of existing social conditions and a vision that animates and focuses our action.
How the Baha'i community contributes towards social justice. Baha'is actively pursue a few principal lines of action and focus on particular themes at this time. They invite others to join with them in collective efforts that include local study circles, designed to discipline the lives of participants and aid them in applying spiritual principles to life's practical challenges, devotional gatherings that augment our personal spiritual resources in order to motivate greater achievement, sounder relationships, and greater reliance on God, children's classes that lay the basis for the future well-being of humankind, and social and economic development projects. The themes of human rights, equality of women and men, global prosperity, moral development, and social cohesion are among those that help define the priorities of Baha'i collective social action.